This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland. Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. I'm Jo Fay.
And I'm Simon Sried.
And today we are talking about homesickness. Because let's face it, it happens to everyone.
Oh, does it now?
Unless you're already at home.
Yeah, like me.
Like you. Yeah, basically, you move to a new country, let's say Switzerland, for example's sake.
Yep.
Because that's where we are. And suddenly, you're not feeling so happy anymore. Feeling kind of sad. Wishing you were back at home. Things are happening at home without you. And you want to be there, but you can't.
The way you're telling me that tells me that you experienced all of this.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be said, while I was traveling a few months or years, I hadn't so much that problem. But I think with me it was more that when you travel, you have something different every other day, or if you don't like it on one place, you just move to a next and it's quite exciting. But I think if you move to another country, maybe it's a bit different. So today we talk about that and about a little bit about your personal experience. So first, before we come to how to overcome the homesickness, what is it exactly? And where does it come from? I mean, you moved to another country because you want to, so what is it?
What is homesickness?
Yes.
Oh, I think homesickness is just you miss home, basically. And it could be lots of different things that you miss about it. It might be the people, it might be the language, it might be your old job, your old routine, whatever it was that you had there that you don't have here anymore.
So basically it's just because you broke out of your comfort zone and it's a new life, everything is different, and that's why you're sad.
I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I think, people build up certain routines and have certain things in their life that stay the same. And if you suddenly don't have any of them anymore, that can be a real shock and is extremely disruptive. Some people maybe deal with that better than others, but I guess we all have our own limits, basically.
Yeah, but I think to dive a little bit deeper, not sure how personal you want to get there, but
Let's see.
What I mean with what is homesickness, how does it show? Like you feel sad, or I imagine it to be kind of like a depression, but could be probably also quite terrifying, I think.
Well, I think it really varies from person to person. You know?
That's obvious. I think there are different stages and different levels of homesickness, but in general, how did it show in you?
I think the thing is, if you leave country and you leave everybody basically, suddenly you're just thrown into a place where you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
And I think that can hit you quite hard and quite suddenly, because at first you walk around, such a great place to be, there are so many exciting new things to do. And then, for me anyway, suddenly it hits you.
Yeah.
You are completely alone there. You don't have any friends. You can't talk to anyone. People don't understand you anymore. You can't do anything you used to do easily anymore. And what do you do then?
But does it take a long time? Or with you said at the beginning was fine and then it came suddenly, but could also imagine it comes over time, or it comes and goes, or...
I guess for me, when I first moved here, I had a lot of things to do at first. You have to set up your new life here, so you have loads of things to keep you busy. And I also had a job, so I had lots to do at work, trying to kind of find my feet there. And I guess it was once that all calmed down a little bit that then you start to think, well, what will I do with my evening or my weekend?
But what's the difference then to be at home or feeling homesick? Because you could also be in the UK and just feeling sad or not energized, or... I know it's quite a difficult question, but...
That is quite a difficult question. Well...
Basically, you want to be home, you want to call your friends or your family.
Yeah, you want to do something with friends, but you don't have any.
You want to go back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's that you necessarily want to go back. You maybe just want some of those things, You want to go out with your friends, but you can't because they're not here. Or you want to do something with your family, but you can't. It doesn't necessarily mean you want to move back home. But although sometimes I think when things get really bad, you might just think, what am I doing here? I wish I had never come.
Sounds great. So. No, I'm sure, the thing is, I'm sure if you move and make such a big step and such a big change in your life, I think everyone must go through some highs and lows somewhere. So
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious that lows will always be there.
Yeah, I can think of one particular moment that stands out, actually. I used to have to go to Geneva quite often for work at the beginning. Also now sometimes.
French part.
the French-speaking part of the country. Yeah. And when I first moved here, I could say basic things in German. So I didn't have a sort of huge problem asking for something simple in a shop, for example.
Yes.
I mean, problematic, yes, but not huge. But I didn't speak really any French. So when I went to Geneva, everything was really difficult. And I know now lots of people there speak English, but it just seemed that when I was there, nobody spoke English and no one was friendly. And I was trying to buy lunch one time in a big shop there in a supermarket. And I bought like a salad or something. And then I was still standing at the checkout. And then I thought, how am I going to eat it? I don't have any cutlery. But I don't know how to say cutlery. I don't even know how to ask for anything. I literally can say nothing. So I tried to tell the woman, making hand signals, can I have something to eat this salad with? And she was basically, what are you talking about? And I just walked away from there and just thought, well, just going to have to eat this with my hands, aren't I?
No.
How low has my life sunk?
Oh, no.
And that seems like, first world problems, but it's little things like that where you think, I can't even communicate the simplest thing.
Yeah, I can totally imagine how that must be. Yes.
Yeah, and you feel like the world is against you.
You just feel extremely lonely and helpless.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So now that we are on the lowest level of this podcast,
wiping away the tears. No, it's okay.
Let's try to pull this around.
Yes.
How did you overcome this?
Well, my French hasn't really got any better, so in that aspect, that didn't help so much. But
you don't go to Geneva so often anymore. So
I don't go so often anymore, and I know where to find the cutlery now.
Well,
without having to ask.
Problem solved.
Exactly. But I think there is a kind of hidden message in that story, which is that, you can find practical ways around what seem like large kind of theoretical problems.
Yes.
You find sort of survival techniques without overstating it too much.
Yes, and I also think these small things make life very difficult, everyday life.
Exactly.
I could imagine that, you don't struggle so much over the huge decisions. It's more the small things that make life difficult. And these small things, you will learn every day 100,000 new things if you live in Switzerland. So it gets every day a tiny bit better anyway, without even concretely doing something.
I think so, yeah. Well, you certainly start to get used to it a bit more,
Yes.
At first, you don't know the names of places, or you don't know how to buy a bus ticket, for example.
Yes.
And then you're late, you're running the risk of getting a fine, you don't know where you are, everything is chaos. But after a while, you'll find out how to buy a bus ticket and where you need to go. And you'll make sure you're extra early so you're not late if everything goes wrong. So you get these kind of survival techniques. But I think I said this before, but basically there came a point for me where I thought, now it's sink or swim. You can be miserable and have no friends, or you can try and find some, and you can try and sort of take back control a bit. And that's where I think it's not like I was extremely homesick, but you are lonely when you don't know anyone and you don't know what you're doing, basically.
Yes, yeah.
And so I just decided, start learning the language, try and meet some people, and also go outside and look around and find things that you like.
I think you just summarized quite a few of the very important points, I assume. That is, on one hand, it's you who decides that you want to change your life. You have to take action. Unfortunately, nobody will come to your place home and try to pull you out of that misery.
No.
So you will have to do it yourself somehow. On the other hand, it's a big step and it needs a lot of effort, but also it's possible. And the other thing, what you said, is meeting new friends, or try to meet new friends. We have also an episode about that. Anyway, if you go to our website, you will find it. And I think that's also very important, that you have some kind of connection. Maybe even a tiny first step is also find some connections online. For example, join our Facebook group. This is a little bit of advertisement. Too much of advertisement. But I think it is actually quite a simple first step, where you don't need to be so... even if you're shy, you just can go online and make a first tiny step and try to write to other expats maybe who have the same experience. You don't need to go to a group where they discuss these problems.
No, not at all.
But I think that's already quite nice when you see, others have these problems as well, maybe.
Definitely.
And they found a way out. So
because I think the thing is, when you're alone with your problems, then the problems seem really huge.
Then it hits you.
So that's why I think it's really important to try and get to know, just anyone as fast as you can.
Yes.
Because at least then you can meet up with that person and just talk to them.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be, hugely emotional, but you can, laugh about the stupid thing that happened that day or say, how on earth did you do that thing? Register for that, whatever.
Totally. And I think there are two ways. You don't need to find straight away your best friend. You can maybe already go to online and just write to somebody if you're not ready for that yet.
Definitely, yeah.
And the other thing that I think is important, what you tried, is to really learn the language. And because I guess that makes you feel very lonely as well, because you don't speak the language they speak in the country you live.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, it's not like I solved that problem overnight. And, even now, of course, with the Swiss German, there are still times when people talk to me and I don't know what they're saying, but sometimes I feel like it might not be something very nice, for example. And there's always that feeling, that you're not really in control of your own life, that you can't say what you want or tell people what you think. And at the beginning, that was super hard. And so, you can't learn a language in the space of a week. But I think what I did, which helped me a lot, was I thought, okay, if I go somewhere and I need something and I'm unprepared, I'm going to leave that place feeling bad. But if I can try and prepare myself as much as possible for what I know I have to do, then I have a tiny bit more control and I know that I can achieve the thing I need.
Yes.
So I would write down, before I need to go and do something, look up in the dictionary words, write them down, take them with me on a piece of paper. At least then I would know I could ask for the thing I want.
Yes, I see. And also I think if you said you make friends and learn a new language, I think this is also a bit what you said then with the episode about how to make new friends, that you just have to go out there and try to learn something new. I think this is also a possibility, that you just go out and try to learn something new. This is exciting and you might make some friends as well. And you just have to be open, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Open to trying all sorts of things, whatever they might be. And the other thing I think as well is that you shouldn't be too hard on yourself, because you can put a lot of pressure on yourself. I have to learn how to speak the language, or I've got to do this or that thing, or I just have to try and make some friends, or whatever it might be. But, these things don't just happen that quickly. So if something doesn't work out, then, don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, it's totally true. And I think also if you, for example, travel for a long time, which is quite similar, and there you have often the feeling that, you have to be happy. Mm-hmm. But you can't always be happy. And then you're sad because you're maybe somewhere and you think, why am I sad now? Because I want to go to this place. But you don't really necessarily need to be too hard with yourself, because that's just how it is. And I guess that's a bit the same when you move to a new country. Then you took the decision and you are there, and then you shouldn't be, you feel like, now I achieved everything I wanted, and then I feel sad, which makes you even more depressed. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just how life is. And
accepting that a little bit is kind of good, I think. Accepting that sometimes you won't feel extremely happy, but other times you will.
Yeah. And if you have a new hobby, then maybe it gets better. You can start a podcast.
Exactly. You can, yeah.
No, I think
distraction is a good idea, though, for sure.
Learn something new or start a podcast is maybe just one example, but I think it's nice if you have a small hobby, or you try to learn something new and then you talk about it, or you write about it online, or you take pictures, maybe you take your camera or something like that. I think that can be a very good thing to get out of a low.
Yeah, definitely. The other kind of side to this, I guess, is, how much and how do you keep in touch with home?
Yeah, I think there are anyway two ways maybe to overcome homesickness. One is to try to involve or integrate your former life into your life now. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is to embrace the new life you have.
Definitely.
And there is the next thing, that you don't mix them up and don't compare them. I think too often I find people that always compare everything and say this is rubbish here and there it's much better and so on. And I think that just doesn't make sense. Every place has its advantages and disadvantages, and it doesn't make sense to compare them. And where you wanted to start, I give the words right back to you. But I think that's one way to make you feel better, is try to involve a little bit of your home into your life in Switzerland. I also very often think that people living in another country, they are quite big patriots, at least for the Swiss abroad. I feel like they are more Swiss than we are here in Switzerland. I'm not sure, how is it with you?
I think I've just sort of looking around where we're recording our podcast. We have quite a few British things here now.
Drinking my British tea off.
Out of a British mug, yep, slurping noises. But it's important to, bring some of your creature comforts from home, whether it's tea or your favourite biscuits or I don't know what. The thing is, you can't live in the past. So I don't think it makes sense to, just try and recreate your home from wherever here in Switzerland, because it won't ever be the same. But for sure, don't deny yourself the things that you like. If you love crumpets, then get someone to send them to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Or bring something.
Yeah, and I think it's with all senses the same, with smell, and maybe you listen quite often to the BBC radio, for example, in the morning, or watching some English TV, or, just to have a little bit of your old life back.
It's true, because, like I was saying a few minutes ago about kind of setting, too high expectations for yourself. And, for me, I want to listen to the Swiss news and watch Swiss TV and so on. But, the reality is it's just too difficult to constantly listen to Swiss German.
To concentrate and translate in your head.
Exactly. So now I'm moving more into the zone that I listen to it or watch it sometimes. But actually, for me, what I really love to do is listen to the BBC first thing in the morning. So now I do that. Yeah,
I think that's good. It's great. And then now it's also quite easy, or very easy, to keep in touch with your friends and family with FaceTime or with
WhatsApp or
whatever.
Who knows what,
and,
all sorts of things.
Or on Facebook and so on. But I think maybe the phone thing is quite a good thing, and WhatsApp quite a good thing. Facebook, social media, maybe try to avoid a bit more, because I think that this is also one example where you constantly get thrown back to your old life.
That's the thing. And I think at first I really felt like I had to go back for everything, every birthday party, everything that I was invited to, every occasion that was happening at home, I always wanted to be there. And of course I still want to be there now, but the reality is you can't always be going back, because then you miss out on building your life here.
Yeah, it's like living two lives, I think. Yeah.
And it gets too much in the end.
And that's what I wanted to say before. I think there are many ways to try to include your old life into your new, or your, home life into your expat life.
Yeah, your home life into your home life.
Like I said, with all the senses and so on. But I think that's more to overcome the lowest low. But on the other hand, I think it's important to embrace the new world and maybe make a holiday in Switzerland and just travel around, explore some new places. Or like I said before, I think for me it would be nice to just take the camera and go and see some places, take some pictures, or write a diary, or I think make a guided tour, or try out the new food, or try to make friends, Swiss friends, and meeting Swiss people. What do you think about that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you've got to learn to love the new stuff that you have. And for some people, it might be obvious straight away. They already love Switzerland. Maybe they love skiing. Maybe they love meeting new people. For them, I guess it's quite easy. But for other people, they might have come here. Maybe it wasn't exactly their plan to move here, for example. And then it's a bit more difficult for them to find things that they love. But I think, I don't know, this is just my personal opinion, but I think if you know you're going to be living somewhere for whether it's for just a year or you don't know how long, you've got to find something that you enjoy or that you love about that place. And you've got to go looking for it, I think.
And then you can make the new place your home.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's more or less the ideas from our side. And we also posted the question, as always, to the Facebook group to hear what you think about the topic. And we had very, very, very good comments. Thank you very much.
Yeah, really good.
And let's go through a few of them.
I might start with the comment from Robin, actually, because I thought she really made a very sincere and very well thought through post, as did everyone. But Robin's kind of really struck me at
and that
first.
has to be said. Robin, she is on a round the world trip, so she is
yes,
for a bit of time in Switzerland, but it's
maybe not so long term.
Exactly, yes. But she also, like I said before, it's kind of a similar feeling, probably.
Exactly, yeah. She said, where to start with Robin's post? She said, try and create a daily gratefulness practice of the things that you're grateful for in your life. And she kind of suggested a few ideas of trying to find connections from home, for example, like making food from your home country or finding a restaurant that makes it, for example. And she also said a pretty cool thing that she's doing for her daughter at the moment, which is throwing her a party with the theme of the country where they're from.
Yeah, that's super nice, I thought.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, really good idea. And then Samantha says something...
Yeah, just wanted to say, I think she had... it's with this country theme, I think it's quite nice because there you can integrate all the things. She also writes the flags, colors, food, music, etc. Then you create basically a whole life. It's like if you're coming from, I don't know, Italy, then you go to a very Italian restaurant where they have the music and everything. So you really get thrown back in that life.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And then Samantha Armstrong, she basically said what we said before. She says, keep busy and integrate the smell and sentences and everything like that. And she also listens to the radio station from her home. And she likes to integrate basically her life a tiny bit with these things in her life now. But she had something very interesting to say as well. At the beginning, she writes, when I first moved here, I had long summer evenings where I could easily have stayed indoors alone and felt lonely. But this was rectified by simply taking a walk along the lake in the sunshine and saying hello to all the passers-by. So this is good out of two reasons. One, I can try to learn reading out loud English sentences.
Yep.
On the other hand, I thought that's a really nice idea because she goes out, has a little walk, a bit of movement, activity. She's friendly to the people. She makes the people smile and she probably gets some smiles back. So that's nice, I think. It's a really nice idea.
Yeah, I think so too. And the thing is, as an expert, in a way, you're kind of freed a little bit from the kind of expectations that society has on you without overstating this too much. You've moved to a new country, so you're not quite part of it yet. And you can do things like walk along and say hello to strangers that maybe you wouldn't do back at home.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, true. Yeah.
So once you kind of start to recognize these sort of things, that can be quite liberating.
Yeah, totally true.
Lorraine also said...
Can you say her surname?
Lorraine Bill Allenbach.
Oh, you're very good.
Thank you very much.
That's a very Swiss surname, Allenbach.
Allenbach, okay. Everybody's written quite long posts, so I'm going to try and summarise them if I can, but it's not so simple, to be honest. Lorraine said that being a little bit older has enabled her to see that everywhere has sort of good sides and bad sides. And I guess you're from Canada, Lorraine, because she says there'll be things about Canada that she misses, but she's sort of determined to always be able to see the new and different things that come from being in a new place.
Yeah, and then Dee says she is obviously for a very long time in Switzerland already. And she says also smile and say good morning to everyone. Try to make Swiss friends. Learn all the new paths. So she is very active. So she goes walking everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is also, I think, like I said before, it's a nice thing to do. And she also writes, do not compare all the time with the old place.
Yeah, it's just never going to be the same, basically, is it? Mm-hmm. And then we also...
Yeah, let's take the comment from Diana.
Yes, Diana Clement says she's lived here for 40 years, so that may be
longer than I did.
Longer than you did, yeah, that's true. She says, she has daughters and grandchildren here, so she's really got the full family experience going on. But even, in spite of all of that, she still feels homesick for smells, tastes, and the sort of ambience from the UK. She says, watching TV and listening to radio from the UK does help. But she says, which I think is a very good point, it's a normal feeling that comes and goes.
Yeah.
It's not just something that you have at the beginning, although then it might be stronger. I think certain things happen and then you feel a bit I wish I was there, or I'm missing out on whatever.
Yeah, so I think that's also nice to see that still after 40 years, she has a little bit of that feeling, but she overcomes it quite easily, I think. And she says it comes and goes. So it's good for everyone out there to know that it will go somewhere as well.
And come back somewhere.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, but in a sort of, I think it comes back maybe in a kind of nice way, you know, if something maybe like a package arrives from home, on the one hand, that's really great. On the other hand, that can make you feel a bit sad.
Yeah, true. And Judith says, turquoise is a good crystal to help healing homesickness. It offers the feeling of belonging. So if it helps, then great. So anyways, I think this was it for today's show. And let's say thank you again to everyone who is listening, to everyone who is commenting. This time it was really great comments again in our Facebook group. It's called Switzerland for English Speakers. Please come and join. Discuss with the other expats, with other people who like to talk about Switzerland in English. And if you have any questions or want to suggest any topic for our episodes, please send us on Twitter or on Facebook or on our website a message. Or the easiest way is also just write us an email at hello@swissandchips.com. But all the information you will find on our website, it's called swissandchips.com.
Yes, indeed. And I just wanted to finish the podcast by following up on something we mentioned.
She always wants to have the last word.
Something that we mentioned approximately 7.5 weeks ago, which was...
Oh, I know what's coming
drum
now.
roll. That was a long drum roll.
So, no, let me ask you.
Yes?
So how is your German going on? Didn't you talk about some A1 test that you took or
hang
something?
on a second.
So the other day we came home and...
My results from my C1 German exam had arrived in the post in a large rectangular envelope.
The excitement is already a little bit rising, so you might expect the result.
Yes, and I passed.
Yeah! Where is the cowbell? Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, true. So,
yeah, congratulations.
Thank
Great.
you very much.
So it's not impossible.
No, it's not impossible, but the journey isn't over yet. Let's put it like that.
Okay, so from staying at home, don't know, everything is dark, don't know where to go, to what is it?
C1 German.
And all of that just in a few...
Just in the space of 8.5 years, yeah. And let's not talk about the years I spent learning German before I came here.
Great. Anyway, so thanks again, everyone, for
Thanks
listening.
for listening.
And have a good time. And...
Good night.
Good night.